Like, what's kind of your goal?
I think for me, it's I think just learning how how you're going to tackle this market, how you plan to do that. And I think it's just learning from each other going forward, keeping the relationship, keeping the network, and hopefully as we do different things, we can share the knowledge and help each other just continue to grow. And if time permits, or if opportunities allow, we could get on deals together, right? Oklahoma City is only 3 hours from where I'm at. And so if you like Oklahoma City, or even Tulsa, which is just an hour from Oklahoma City, and Tulsa is just an hour and a half from where I'm at. And so, and even here, right? Even in the Northwest Arkansas area, if you haven't maybe searched that up, that might be a very area of interest for you. Here in Northwest Arkansas, and this 4 city location here. Like the 4 major city here is like Bentonville, Rogers, Springdale, and Fayetteville, where it's got a lot of trying to find the right word for it. Found like fundamentals. So it's got a lot of fundamentals here, and because it's got a big Fortune 100 company here.
Yeah, Walmart.
Yeah, I got Walmart, we got JB Hunt, you got Tyson, and then a lot of other companies are coming in here. And it's got, I said, good fundamentals, population growth, job growth. I mean, Bentonville, I think average income here is like 80 something thousand. But across the US, the average is only like 50 or 50 something or 40 something. I can't remember, but and because this is where Walmart is, and the good thing is that with these big companies here, they require vendors to have offices here. Yeah, so then you got, I mean, they work with so many vendors that you've got offices of all sorts of vendors here. So the area is just really booming and growing, and Walmart is just pouring a ton of money here. And so, yeah, so I think it's just really just keeping in touch, and maybe we do deals down the road together when the opportunity exists or not. Yeah, and learning.
Because right now, I just basically burned through all my capital.
Yeah.
And, I cannot pull out any capital unless interest rates drop down, because I don't want to refinance out of like my 4% interest rate, right?
No
That's
way.
fixed for 10 years. Because I have a lot of equity trapped in my 26 unit, but, I could potentially get a HELOC on that. But they look at your DTI in that case, so it might be a little more challenging. But something I considered. But obviously, even with a HELOC on it in second lien position, you're probably be at 9 to 10% interest. And then my 20 unit, obviously that one's a high interest rate already, and I refinance that. And then my mobile home park, I'm seller carrying second and note. So I can't imagine myself active right now, but I am trying to like find more sources of income, because I imagine with my current assets, it's gonna be at least a 2 year, I think, kind of lag period, I would say. Because until interest rates drop down, I can't really make a move. So I don't know what it looks like, because obviously using what I know already, it would be like wholesaling or like flipping. But obviously there's some risk there as well. And then on the side, I do like some like coaching and courses, and now some social media, but that takes like a long tail to build. It's not like an instant thing. So I just document like what I'm doing now, right? So if you check out my channel, I just talk a lot about like what I'm currently doing. Obviously, we own 50 units, is always going on. Or when I was owning 90 units, I was doing so many different things. So I was just kind of sharing my journey to give a more realistic approach to like real estate, and not like, hey, I bought 600 units in like 1 year at 23, right? Like mine is like, it's just me. I work full time. I scaled this portfolio. Doesn't sound as like sexy to say on social media, but it's like very realistic what I'm doing. Right? And I didn't come from money either, right? Like people always say,
don't.
People assume I do. Like, there's no way you can scale this yet. I'm like, no, I just bought deals that I thought were okay at that time, and got a little bit lucky that it appreciated like crazy.
Yeah.
But I was disciplined enough to save money to buy these deals, right?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
that was really only my winning recipe. And then, but for me, how I find deals, because I'm confident now that with my direct mailing campaigns, like you give me like 6 to 8, 9 months, I could probably find a good deal that's under market value, direct to owner, and I'm buying up instant equity day one, and I have a team ready, right? I have a property manager, I have a contractor, I know how much things cost, and I know what the rents are going to be, right? If it's like Oklahoma City or Enid, where I currently have properties, I know Tulsa's a little bit nicer of an area. It's kind of like the A-class area of Oklahoma. But
I don't know about that.
well, I guess it's there's some pockets, yeah.
Yeah.
But I definitely have boots in the ground there. So like for me, like I used to have that FOMO, like, oh, I need to buy this now, but now I just kind of know when I'm ready, I can find a good deal. Like I know I can find a good deal when I'm ready, and I know like what's a good deal that makes sense for me. And like for me, I always make an offer, and if they don't like it, okay, I made an offer that works for me. If you don't like it, then that's fine. I'll reach out to you in a month and see if your mind changed, and if not, or maybe I can flip that contract to someone else who makes sense for them, and I'll make a wholesale fee between the difference, right? So
nice.
So that's why I gained a little more confidence, where I know I can like find a good deal. Like I was buying my apartment at like $20K per door. And
that's cheap.
If you build it brand new, it's not $20K a door, right?
You couldn't get that.
and I put in $10K a door renovation, I'm all in for $30K, and it's worth $50K per door, all in.
Yeah.
But then that's why I underwrote in 2021, but now they're worth like 60, 70K per door now. So it went up even a little bit higher than I anticipated. But that's why I'm kicking myself, because like I remember I had a deal when I bought my mobile home park. There was another apartment complex near my 26 unit, and I turned it down because they wanted 33K per door. I was like, oh, it's overpriced. And then I had shiny object syndrome with the mobile home park. I'm like, oh, I want a mobile home park. Sounds more exciting, right? But I kicked myself. I was like, had I bought that apartment near mine, man, it probably would have it would have been a cash cow too. I mean, honestly, it'd be a cash cow, and it'd be less stressful if I had to talk to one person and they renovate both my apartments.
Yeah, because it's right there.
Yeah, then once one apartment is done, it can fund the second apartment renovation, right? If I'm making $7,000 to $8,000, I can renovate one unit per month.
Yeah.
On top of that, so I'm kind of kicking myself a little bit for not doing that. So that's why I'm pretty committed now. Or like it just makes sense for me just to stay in Oklahoma City for apartments, just because I have a system, I have a team there. It would be like starting over if I went to a new market.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, like why I kind of go through that stress and of that. So
yeah.
So yeah.
So what can I do for you, man?
Yeah, I think kind of the same thing. I think I'm interested in learning about like the flipping / construction side, because obviously I have the skill set in renovation, because I renovated like 50 units in apartments, and I think that the concepts and the fundamentals for flipping, like it's usually single family homes, it's the same, but I'm pretty cookie cutter in terms of that. Development, it's kind of a new area, but probably an area that I'm trying to dive into a little more is like creative financing a little bit. I kind of like that. I did some creative financing, but like I just kind of want to buy a deal with 0% down, just to like blow my mind and destroy this belief I have, like that you can do it. I just need to like try it one time to see how it's like, right? And then and I don't know down the road like what's gonna look like, because right now I don't partner, but I don't know like down the road if I get access to like larger deals, and maybe I'll consider partnering, but keep it like smaller. I don't want to like syndicate. I'd rather just like one, ideally just one other partner who has capital, and then I can deal with all the management and the renovations and all that, because I already know how to do all that. But like I said, I don't know. I need to see. Because as you will learn as you scale, like there's a diminishing point of return after a while, where it's like, is it worth it to take on this additional stress? And then if I have kids and all that later down the road, my priorities might shift a little bit. Can't be as like 100% into real estate. So
sure.
but it's also nice to organically scale as well. So,
yeah.
So yeah, I didn't know like if you know any um, like debt partners who just want to like basically be a note for that and don't want equity. Some people want equity, some people don't. It just depends on what they do. But I think that would be like my next logical step because I can't. All they it makes sense to me to go straight from like no partners to like having a bunch of equity partners in the deal. So I'm used to having full control right now. I think the next step would be like a debt partner just to see what it's like, and then maybe it would progress into like an equity partnership down the road. So I don't know how that looks like, but because I know some people, that's the more passive route, right? When you just the bank, you basically become the bank, or someone becomes the bank. And I'm becoming the bank on my mobile park deal, right? So I might experience that and be like, oh, man, this is kind of nice. Like, you don't have to do anything. You just but you have to build up that capital to
you do
have that you know, luxury. And I guess if you know anybody that wants to learn about multifamily, would love to teach them and show them, because like for me, I went through a bunch of mentorships where it's pretty costly. And they want equity in your deals. Like they'll take like, you know, equity in your deals, and they don't assume any of the risk, right? Like if you lose money, they don't have to do anything, but if you make money, you split it like 50-50. So I thought that was a little bit I'll describe it, it's a little bit taking advantage, not really taking advantage. Like, you know, I'm grateful for the mentors, like, you know, they helped me get to where I am today, but I just didn't like how, like, you know, basically it's kind of like gouging you or kind of preying on you. It felt like you're kind of preying on newer people a bit. So that's why I just do like coaching and like course where I'll teach you and help you walk through it, but I don't want to like take any of your equity now, unless we partner up. Actually, it's like a larger deal. But like if it's a deal that someone else is taking, I purely just want to be like, hey, like I'll help you go through that process. And not take any of your equity. And, because I just felt like it was just too, like my 26 unit, like that's what happened. Like I basically had to give up like, you know, about half the equity.
Really?
Assuming I sell it or cash out refinance it. So they give you back your initial money that you put into the deal. And then but they'll pay you interest rate on that too. So like 6-7%. And then anything after that you do split 50-50. But what I didn't kind of like was because like when I got the deal under contract, and it was my first deal, so of course you're like nervous, but they kind of like force you to like, hey, like sign this contract or else like we kind of kick you out of the program, and you've put in like 15K to join this program, right? So it's just kind of like, and then after I took over though, I quickly realized that, you know, he did refer me his property manager who have been great, like, to be honest. But like it's just like at this point they're not even helping me. I've done most of it myself, so I don't feel like you necessarily deserve half the equity. I mean, I understand paying like consulting fee, like a $50,000 to $100,000. That's reasonable to me, right? Because there's no risk to that person. So, you know, it kind of inspired me to kind of do the same thing where like I will charge like a consulting fee where I'll help you go like all the way, like on a deal for like 50 to like 100,000. And because like to me it seems expensive to some people, but I'm like, no, there's other gurus out there who are like gouging more from it, right? And they have zero risk. So I'm just like, damn, like you're kind of taking advantage a little bit. But like I said, I can't knock, because like thanks to them, it helped me like break my belief of owning apartments. I didn't think I could own an apartment, to be honest. But
and now
that I do it, it's just like, okay, I know I can do this, and I know I can teach people how to do it because I've brought 3 deals full cycle essentially, right? So
that's crazy.
Very, very realistic.
That's good.
Approach. So
that's awesome, man. Being only 33 too, that's so young. So
I kind of like felt bad, but then I look back, I'm like, man, like if you asked me even like 6 years ago, like if I'd be where I'm at, I would think you're crazy. But sometimes you don't realize when you're stuck in that grind, you don't realize how much you've grown. So but it's been crazy. So that's why I've been documenting my journey, because a lot of those gurus out there, you can just tell, like, especially if you operate like what I do, like they don't really know what they're talking about. They're very unrealistic. They're just trying to raise money from you. They don't really know anything else.
Right.
But for me, I'm actually in the weeds and operate, and I tell people like, yeah, I wouldn't even invest with someone like me. Like I want someone with a track record. But now I built my track record, you know, with 3 deals. But you want to invest someone with a track record, not some like random person who just like you like and like here's money. I'm like, no, like things can go wrong too. And if it goes wrong, they lose your money, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Things can always go wrong. Man, well, I knew that there were some fees, but I didn't know that it was that much. And I'm glad I didn't. I mean, I wanted to take some of those courses, but my wife's like, no, don't do it. She's my voice of reason. They're just like, you're smart enough. You don't need that. You just need experience and just
I think experience is the best education. Yeah. But like, you know, I mean, I will say like the education is out. I mean, it's the concepts that even I teach in my course and any course, it's out there already. It's nothing new, but it's just organized. And sometimes it's nice to at least get you started, but the key is like you need to like be around people who are actually doing the deals. Like me, I'm actually actively doing deals, and I can kind of walk you through it. So it's kind of like I give you the basics, and then you know, but the real stuff comes from like because what the course doesn't teach is like how do you talk to owners directly to get what you get of creative finance.
Sure.
How do you get good deals? I can't teach that through a course. It needs to be like one-on-one or like in person, you know, that face-to-face interaction. Sure. So that's why I sell a course, you know, on the cheaper end, knowing that they're going to need basically me to help them as a consultant capacity on that deal. If they want to make it successful and you know, people like penny pinch. And I said, if you're not willing to invest like a couple thousand in your education, you shouldn't be buying apartments at all. Right? Like I've made mistakes that cost me $60,000-$70,000. And if you're not willing to spend $3,000 to educate yourself, like you have no business being in this industry. Right? Especially apartments. So
for the mobile home park, did you kind of go on your own on that one, or did you have?
No, so I had a consultant who they were my property management as well, and they had 30 years in the business. But you know, at the end of the day, they're a salesperson, right? Because they get a consulting fee when I sign up, and you know, honestly, whatever quotes they gave me, they were all wrong, all inaccurate. And you know, everything took longer than expected. It was more expensive than expected. And like, honestly, you know, they've been in the industry for 30 years, but from my lens, it didn't seem like they had any experience. I mean, they did, but like the way they operate, which just wasn't very organized, wasn't very transparent. It was just like an older school thing. So, you know, they helped me sell the deal, but yeah, it's, you know, like I just kind of didn't like that. I kind of expected a little bit more from somebody with 30 years of experience in the industry. But at the end of the day, you know, they're a salesperson. And they oversold it to me, who was, you know, I was uninformed optimist, right? Because you don't know what you don't know until you do it.
Exactly.
But now that like I know mobile parks, every time I hear those syndicates, I'm like, dude, mobile parks are complete. All of them are complete dumpster fires. But if you're able to deal with it and put out the dumpster fire, you can make a lot of money. But it comes at a cost, right? It's a lot of people, a lot of team, a lot of capital. So if you're willing to do that, you have to be committed to scaling and owning multiple mobile home parks. But for me, I'm just like, for the same less effort, I can own an apartment complex that fits my lifestyle, right? So I just quickly realized that, and mobile home parks, you're dealing with a lower demographic, right? Like it's not your A, B class tenants you have for your single family homes. Even my apartments are kind of like C class, right? They're kind of like more workforce housing. So you're gonna get a couple of bad apples that you have to evict and all that. So it's just really finding out, you know, what your cup of tea is, and then going from there. So
sure.
So, but
well, you know, that's good experience that you gained, and of course it's costly, but that's just the cost of education, right?
It's a real life MBA. It's a real life MBA.
Exactly.
So what you've done just by taking action, you'll learn is a lot more than you would have done any course, right? Like you said, you're just like, oh, I don't know anything creative financing. It's whatever you want it to be. Just get an attorney to like double check you, and then some states like Oklahoma, they have seller financing forms pre-made, standardized. So you just can start off that as a template, and then just talk and negotiate and get an attorney in. So
Yep.
that's the best education. But you know, I get it. If some people don't take things seriously unless they put money into it. Like when I put 15K into my education, believe me, I studied, right? I did everything that I was supposed to do because I had skin in the game.
Yeah.
So that if that's how you're motivated or someone's motivated, then definitely it's worth it. But like you said, worst case, if I tell them if you spend 3,000, you join the course and you realize you don't like apartments, that's great because it's better than you buying an apartment and finding out later after losing $100,000 and maybe going bankrupt. I'd rather you just spend $3,000 and be like, oh, I don't want to do this at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or I can vet at least a syndicator to invest with, right? Like if just that value there is enough, that's totally worth it in my mind.
Yeah.
Like I wish I could have done that for my mobile home park instead of learning and losing
the hard way. Yeah.
The hard way and getting some gray hairs along the way. So
yeah. Well, you know, gray hairs is just a sign of wisdom. So
yeah. But all right, man. Yeah, would love to keep in touch. It's getting late here. I know for
let's
you.
Do that.
So but yeah, reach out if email me if you ever need anything or
for sure. I'll email out. Yeah, because I know you've got the experience with multifamilies and like I said, Oklahoma right in my alley too. So I haven't moved that far yet, but I'm still trying to at least clean up within my own backyard first before I moved a couple streets over or something. So
yeah, check out my YouTube channel. I talk a lot about like my deals and how to like understand it underwrite multifamily. So yeah, there's a lot of free content on there where you just can watch it. And,
definitely will do.
Learn from there and kind of see what it's like going into the multifamily space.
Okay.
All right, man.
All right, cool, Steven. Well, I appreciate your time. Yeah, you have a good night and we'll talk some more.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.